Today is the 4th day of spring, March 23rd, and it is a lovely warm spring day. We're just getting ready to move our chicken pen, which has been on the other side of our new irrigation ditch for the last month. We've been trying to fertilize the other side of that area because we'd like to plant. And so Dan is over there right now making the necessary preparations to get the coop ready for the move. This morning, Dan and I went to visit Lorenzo and Dora at their farm, and they had the most incredible, beautiful greenhouse with bok choy and radishes and turnips and spinach all growing beautifully. We helped them pick and bundle turnips for a delivery they had to get ready for the Montanita market in Santa Fe. So we were bundling the turnips for that delivery. Today is the day after Stephen's service that we had at the Memorial Chapel, and we've shared all we have so far with all of the family members and friends. We did have, I think, a very nice time hiking up the trail together as a family to spread Stephen's ashes. And again, we've shared some of those photographs with everyone. You can see our yard still looks parched from a very dry winter. We have heard that the irrigation water is going to be somewhat delayed because obviously the farmers take precedence over all of us, which is more than understandable, and I think they're still working out what the schedule for the irrigation season is going to be. Therefore, we have not used any of the city water to water the yard so that it looks as dry as it can be. We are getting some cherry blossoms and pear blossoms there in the back, and as you can see, the rhubarb that we just divided last spring for the first time in more than 20 years, we divided into a variety of areas, and these two pots in particular have really already taken off, and the stalks look wonderful. We have some other smaller rhubarb plants growing in different areas, and we'll just take a look around. Dan was just about to get the chicken coop ready for its move. It looks like the door has come unhinged because he is having to cross over the irrigation ditch area, and without too much excitement from the hens trying to make their breakaway run. So we still have 11 chickens. One of our chickens died. We're not quite sure why. We just found her one day about a month ago. She is now decomposing. But the thought has crossed our mind to either harvest the chickens or perhaps give them away. Right now they are very productive. They're still laying about 10 eggs a day. Dan just took out the feeder that we bought. It's been about 6 months ago, but it's a 30-pound feeder, which really facilitates feeding the chickens because you can fill it quite full, even though we give them all of our scraps from peelings and cuttings, which they absolutely still prefer over the chicken feed, the pellets, which is understandable. But it's nice to have the feed, especially when it was so cold, or really not so cold compared to other places in the country, but for us cold. It's nice that we don't have to fill their bin as often. So what you can see here is our little ditch channel that we've shown before, but something we did about 2 months ago is that we dug out the bottom of the trench to plant the Jerusalem artichokes, the girasole. And so it'll be interesting to see how they do, because they're at the bottom of the ditch in full sun. They're going to have access to quite a bit of water. And as you can see, there's Dan. And he's having to remove a lot of bricks and timbers because the chickens were making their great escape. The ground here on this side of the ditch is very uneven, and so they look for any, as it were, opening loophole to make the chicken run. But here's Dan doing the tug and pull. Someone on YouTube left us a comment to say that we should put handles on the PVC piping that would help with the pull, as it were. And we've really taken that advice to heart. We have looked into handles because I think that was a really good suggestion. Right now at Costco, they have an adorable, stylish, portable chicken coop for $169, and it would comfortably accommodate 4 chickens in a very lovely setting. But we think it's really quite small because I do think the chickens appreciate the 12 by 12 structure that we have that gives them more, as it were, leg room. At least I know it's not as much as they would like. They would like to be running around the entire yard, which would be possible if we wanted to put up more fences away from the yard where we're always walking. So right now we don't feel inclined to put up a fence, and so they are somewhat restricted to this area, just in the chicken coop. So Dan is moving. He's just about to take them over. It'll be interesting if they realize, you always wonder with a chicken brain, how much do they realize, how smart our girls are, that are they going to try to say, aha, we're in an opening, we can make a run for it. Well, it looks like they have dipped down, but they're going with the flow, or the pull, should I say. And so there's Dan pulling, and they're going right along with it. They don't want to get their little toes smashed. Okay, so they've safely crossed over. Dan wants to put them over here where we've got some green onions sprouting up, and so they can nibble on some fresh greens. So that's probably where they're going to be. We have not tilled the soil with the rototiller because truly spring has just recently sprung. And so what we want to do is have more areas available for gardening, and to be more as methodical in what we plant, and so that's what we're striving for, is using our land better and our water resources. We're looking into rain barrels and something that can hold the volume, and really try to be more water wise. It was great visiting Lorenzo. He uses well water and a drip irrigation system. We were astounded by the lack of weeds, and he was explaining it's just hand weeding, which we do. Obviously, we've never ever used any pesticides, but the problem is we use water from the ditch, and water from the ditch comes with all the seeds, good and bad. Let's just say bad mostly, because it's the Johnson grass and just weeds in general that are in the ditch water, so that we have to really work on that, because it is a constant. And this year we want to, since we think it's going to be a little bit calmer this summer, we're going to try to keep the squash bugs at bay. Last summer they just devoured the beautiful squash and pumpkin plants, and we tried to, drown them when we could, but it's really a daily effort, which we didn't really do that well. So we're still, as it were, learning every day and trying to figure out the best way. So it looks like Dan has gotten them to where the little green onions have sprouted out, and the chickens are always thrilled when they have their new habitat. We have quite a few fresh cuttings of vegetables to give them, so on top of their new area they will have some additional food supplies. Dan's just adjusting their perch. Dan has thought that bolting the perch so it doesn't come unhinged the way it does with the PVC, it tends to, when you manipulate it, it tends to slip out. And then you've got 11 chickens that weigh, who knows, well, let's just say about 8 pounds per chicken. Those Buff Orpingtons are a little on the plump side. That's why they call him the, fryers, layers fryers, because they really are the biggest of the bunch. If we were to give away some hens as opposed to harvesting them, we've already decided it would be the White Rocks that would take the hit, and the Wyandottes and the Black Rocks would hang out with the Buff Orpingtons. We'll see, nothing definite. We asked Lorenzo if he knew anyone who would like some hens, but he said if they're laying that well as they are for us, that maybe we should just hang on to them. We'll see. They eat a lot of feed, and we don't know. We wind up having more eggs than we need, which is nice to give away, but still, every day they always need a lot of attention, which is fine because we enjoy them. And so, Dan, are you going to take down the cooleroos, or they still need them for the temperatures?
Maybe next week.
It is like right now, I suspect it's closer to 70 degrees, which is downright balmy. And so we have the cooleroos up, obviously for sunshade, but we have an additional heavy gauge tarp to give them more protection from the night temperatures. So I think soon we'll be able to remove that tarp. So they have survived, as it were, their second winter, very healthy and very happy. Here comes Dan with the feeder. And do you need to fill the feeder, honey, or is it? I'm sorry. It's filled?
No, I'm going to fill it up.
Oh, you're going to fill it. So Dan's going to take care of that. And then they're set for quite a few days with their food with the feeder, but it's their water every single day. They really need fresh water. That's what they really look forward to and enjoy. In the compost area, there's some additional branches you can see back there. Because Dan cleaned out the ditch and he tried to chop everything up, the branches, but there were extras, so he's going to get to that later. And again, cleaning the ditch is an annual event for the water flow, and unfortunately people go behind the ditch and dump trash, and so that all has to be cleaned out periodically, which we always do. And so again, we'll take a look at the cherry tree. It really looks like it's just starting to bud out, and the cherries are just the dark Bing cherries, which are just luscious, and so it's nice to have them. I think I'm going to say goodbye for now, and everyone, please take care. We think of all of you, and until next time, bye-bye.